Hello, happy Thursday to everyone. So, in our garden, our kale is getting ready to be harvested, and it made me want to tell a little story and just give some tips on how to harvest kale so you can maximize it. So, when I was a kid, I saw the kale was ready and thought the way you harvest it was just like other fruits and vegetables and you just pick it. So I pulled the whole plant out and realized that I cut that harvest short. So the real way to harvest kale, and you can see there are some of ours coming in. We've got a little bit of cabbage worm problems, but it's coming in. So the right way to harvest kale is here. You're going to harvest those big leaves on the outside edge, and you're going to leave that little crown in the middle to keep growing. And that's what's going to keep making more and more leaves for months to come. And if you harvest like maybe 5 leaves from each plant, 3 to 5 leaves from each plant, it will give you a full harvest and give the plant enough to keep growing for much, much longer. So that is the right way to harvest kale. I'm excited to get some of ours harvested and take it to our friends for a 4th of July celebration. But yeah, like I said, 3 to 5 leaves at a time. Use pruning shears. They help make sure that it's a clean cut that will be less likely for an infection or pests or anything like that for the whole plant. Um, those are the types of pruning shears that I use there. So you're going to harvest the leaves from the bottom up. And when I say that, you're not going all the way to the top. You're just harvesting the lowest leaves. Those are the oldest leaves. They're the most ready to be enjoyed. And they're the ones that the plant, once you take, the plant will start growing more new ones from the center. Um, Feeding the soil will be helpful to make sure that your kale keeps producing strongly, and then you're going to want to harvest those leaves every 3 to 5 days to just encourage the plant to continue growing. Give it good water. Try to keep it from getting too hot or it'll bolt. I know in that summer heat that can be really difficult. Row covers can help, but otherwise you're kind of just at the mercy of Mother Nature there. You can pinch the flowers as they start coming out. Sometimes that'll help to encourage leaf growth instead of bolting. Other times it's just the end of the season and you can pull the plant once you've harvested the last of the good leaves. So this kind of goes into that infographic a little bit more. As far as planting goes, you can plant it as soon as the soil's warmed enough in the spring. So, in North Carolina, March, you can start planting it. The nice thing about kale is you can also plant for a fall harvest too. So you can plant in late summer and then harvest it through the winter. Kale survives frost quite well, and actually they get better flavor. It's more sugary and sweet after a frost. So that's actually better for harvesting it. Fall kale is probably my favorite as opposed to summer kale. You can get some spring kale if you can plant it soon enough. That's a little bit better. But the summer kale is usually a little bit tougher and doesn't have quite as much flavor, or the flavor is a little bitter. Whereas the fall kale is sweet and quite honestly very delicious. Um, you can do succession planting to make sure that you can harvest all season long. Again, this gets tough through the peak of the summer months where it gets really hot, but otherwise you can kind of start plants about 4 weeks after one another, and then they're kind of all reaching their peak at separate times. So by the time you're getting done with harvesting the leaves from the oldest ones, the half-grown ones are really ready to put out, and the seedlings are on their way to producing for you. We'll go over a few things to plant with your kale. So you saw that ours had some bug damage. In future years, I'm going to plant some onions and garlics in with the kale to really help that. I also think that I'm going to put some flowers out to kind of keep the cabbage worms away. Those were our problem this year. All right, have a good